Springfield, presented by the Commercial Real Estate Network of the Capital Area Realtors. I'm Cindy Hamill, this year's chair of CREN. The Commercial Real Estate Network, I'm going to lift this up a little higher. The Commercial Real Estate Network is proud to sponsor the state of the Greater Springfield for the 17th consecutive year. If you aren't familiar with CREN, it is a group of realtors who specialize in assisting clients in commercial real estate sales and leasing. It's fitting that CREN is a sponsor of the greater state of Springfield because of the job creation ripple effect that commercial real estate generates. Most of us attend or frequent workplaces or businesses that have purchased or leased that property. Each one of those transactions likely involved local bankers, title companies, architects, engineers, and a wide variety of contractors to improve that property to fit their unique needs before they even open. As business needs change, the community impact continues. CREN would not be possible without our original group of commercial brokers who offer so much experience and knowledge. Thank you to them. It is a pleasure to be here today representing CREN. We have navigated the commercial lease and purchase transaction process numerous times and are familiar with the challenges and pitfalls that can occur. Relocating or acquiring commercial space can be a complex and time-consuming process, and an infrequent one for most businesses. However, hiring a member of CREN provides access to an experienced advocate. On behalf of the Commercial Real Estate Network, I would like to thank each of our business partners that have placed their trust in our growing membership. Now, we'd like to take a moment to acknowledge today's sponsors. Our premier sponsors, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Comcast, Springfield Clinic, U.S. Bank. Our partner sponsors, Illinois Railroad Association, Memorial Health, Troxel. And thank you also to each of the table sponsors. You'll see their names listed in your program. We'd also like to take a moment to recognize many of our partners who are elected officials with us today. Mayor Misty Busher, Sangamon County Board Chair Andy Van Meter, and all the county and elected officials. Now, if you will, please rise to say with me the Pledge of Allegiance. I have the flag right here behind me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Now I'd like to introduce Pastor Brian Mills from Hope Church to provide our invocation. Thank you.
Let's pray together. Father, today we thank you for your common grace and the generosity of that grace. We gather today as believers. We don't believe in the same things, but we all believe in the opportunities of the future. We gather today as makers. None of us is waiting for someone else to solve our problems or for fate to give us our future. We have assessed the risk, we've counted the cost, and we're ready to go. And we also gather today as partners. None of us is able to do this important work alone. Each of us on our best day is still limited, but all of us, even on our worst day, can do anything together. And so today, we gather with anticipation and with courage, asking you to bless our work, our friendships, and this food. In Jesus' name, amen.
I welcome you to the first ever Greater state of the greater Springfield. And I'm pleased that the Chamber is allowing Mayor Misty Buscher to give her first State of the City address, along with Chairman Van Meter the opportunity to give the first ever State of the County address. Today's event supports one of our 4 core missions of advocacy. Advocacy is not only one of our 4 core missions, it's actually in our mission statement, which is to enhance our members' success and advocate on their behalf. I appreciate the great relationship that we have with all of our elected officials that I get to work with on a daily basis. Events like today will only strengthen our strong working partnership we have with the city and the county. I'm looking forward to hearing what our 2 elected officials have to say about the future of the Springfield area, and so I would like to ask Cindy Hamill, Chair of the Commercial Real Estate Network. I always want to say Commercial Real Estate Group, I'm sorry. Commercial Real Estate Network to come up and introduce our first speaker.
Thank you, Mike. It's now my pleasure to introduce one of today's speakers. Mayor Misty Buscher was recently elected mayor in April of 2023. Before that, she had been elected treasurer in 2015. Prior to being elected treasurer, she was vice president of mortgage lending at Marine Bank in Springfield. She spent the past 31 years as a financial professional in one capacity or another, whether it was helping clients in her personal finances or by managing the cash and investments for the city of Springfield. Misty will now spend her time beautifying Springfield, creating economic development, and working to provide the citizens with a vibrant city. Misty has also spent numerous hours volunteering in the Springfield community. She has worked for groups like the Springfield Area Home Builders Association, Spark, Compass for Kids, and King's Daughters Organization. Misty and her husband Mike, who is a small business owner, live on the north end of Springfield and have 2 children, son Anthony, who's married to Crystal, and their daughter Courtney. They are the proud grandparents of two grandchildren, Beckham and Alessandra Buscher. Misty looks forward to getting to know you and serving you over the next 4 years as your mayor. Please welcome Mayor Misty Buscher.
Thank you all very much. How impressive that we have a sold-out crowd, so great job to the Chamber. Good job. On Tuesday, April 4th, there was an election. With that election became results that are now me standing here as your mayor. So on May 5th, Mayor Misty was sworn into office. With a new mayor comes change. Each mayor assembles their own directors of their city departments and agencies that they want to lead and collaborate with to create their vision of the city moving forward. Today, I'm going to take a moment to recognize the team from the city of Springfield that is here today. I'm going to call your names. I would like you to stand and be recognized, and I would like the crowd to please hold their applause until the end, and we can applaud this amazing team together. Alderman Ralph Hanauer is here. Alderman Chuck Redpath. Treasurer Colleen Redpath-Fager. Clerk Frank Lesko is here. Alderwoman Lakeisha Purchase. Convention and Visitors Bureau Director Scott Dahl. Community Relations Director Ethan Posey. The Director of Public Works Dave Fuchs. Police Chief Ken Scarlett. Fire Chief Ed Canny, Budget Director Ramona Metzger, Chief of Staff Mike Disco, Communications Director Haley Wilson, City Water Light and Power Doug Brown, ISD Director James Sullivan, Acting Purchasing Director Mike Lesko, Acting Oak Ridge Cemetery Director Mike Lellis, Acting Corporation Counsel Stephen Ron, Acting Economic Development Director Val Yazel. I call him CCE now, my Chief City Engineer, Nate Bottom. It's my new acronym for Nate. We have in our audience Amber Sabin and Pat Johnson from City Water, Light, and Power. And I think there might be a few more that snuck in that I don't know, but I do know we have a Visit Springfield table, which should consist of Terry Truman, Amy Beadle, Melissa Dunbar, McKinley Jones, Michael Riefler, Darren Thurman, Hannah Johnson, and Caitlin Kultus. If there are any other employees or team members that work with us at the city that are here that I do not know about, please stand as well. I applaud all of you for being part of the team. Thank you. I also want to take a moment to recognize any elected officials that are in the room, so hopefully we caught you all coming in. I know he was on the registration list. I don't know if he made it. Representative Mike Coffey, I don't know if Mike made it because I know they're in session. Representative Wayne Rosenthal was on the list. I know they're in session. Lincoln Land Trustee Gordon Gates. Is Gordon here? There he is. County Board Member Tony Del Giordo, I believe, might be in the room. All right. Our County Recorder, Josh Langfelder, should be in the room, I believe. There we go. Mayor Mike Lopez, I think, is in the room somewhere from the Village of Jerome. Superintendent Jennifer Gill is here. There she is. And are there any other elected officials that we didn't get to see coming in? Oh, Samantha Raymond, Lincoln Land Board. There she is. Hi, Sam. Anyone else? And Andy Goldman, our county auditor, is here. And he sat at my table. Sorry, Andy. Sorry about that. I just want to thank all the elected officials, all the people that I just spoke about. Oh, wait. Also, our retired Sheriff Neil Williamson is in the back of the room also. I'm convinced he gets the award for the most popular elected official. But I do want to thank everyone because it does take a lot of courage to take an appointed position or to run for office. So I just thank all of you. As your new mayor, I think about the excitement of what Springfield can create and become. The excitement of creating a beautification project for our community excites me. The excitement of spurring growth and opportunities for our downtown is what excites me. The excitement of creating a fun outdoor space with our Lake Area Beach House, which I've already talked to Doug Brown about, excites me. The excitement of creating jobs and opportunities for our citizens of Springfield through light industrial space, a warehouse, bringing ancillary services of our exceptional medical facilities to town, and an expansion of education opportunities and technology. These are the things that excite me to do my job. When you look around Springfield, you see exciting things happening in our downtown, thanks to our governor. And I want to give a shout out to our governor. The Capitol complex is getting a huge update. It's going to be amazing when it is. The old state capitol has restoration going on, and the armory is being improved, which I think is a huge gift because people kept telling me how horrible the shape was of that building. So just a big thank you and applause to our governor. As a new mayor, I do have concerns and issues that have come across my desk. Today is day 9 as your mayor. Some concerns that have crossed my desk are the hotel across the street, a new parking lot being created downtown, EMT services, fire trucks that were ordered. You'll see more about that coming up because I believe the Illinois Times did a story on that, and contract negotiations of unions that have been stalled. But we're not going to dwell on the items that have come across my desk right now, as my family, who is in the back of the room, would tell me need elbow grease on them. We're going to talk about some really cool projects going on in our city right now. Right now, Chairman Van Meter and his team have a vision and a working group that they are working on, the transportation hub, as you see going on to the left of this building right now. When that project is complete, it's going to be nothing short of amazing for our town. I had the pleasure of experiencing some of the innovation that is going to be on display in that building when it is complete, and you will be in awe that this is in Springfield. The high-speed rail project is quite impressive. By moving the train tracks to the 10th train and bus services, together this will open up the 3rd Street corridor to a beautiful greenway for our citizens. Our visitors and our citizens will be able to use this outdoor space for enjoyment. This greenway will take you from the Wabash Interurban Trail at Stanford Avenue, past the newly renovated Capitol, and onto the State Fairgrounds. Thank you to the Springfield Sangamon Growth Alliance for their support of these projects. I know some of you are here in this room from that group. We also have the Legacy Point Sports Complex that will be starting construction soon at the end of the MacArthur Boulevard expansion. This sports park will feature a 170,000 square foot indoor sports dome and 8 baseball softball fields. Your town, Springfield, will become the home of a sports tourism designation. That will be new for you, Springfield. Our City Water, Light, and Power is focused on the future for you. They are working on lead service line replacement. They are looking at 20 locations for electric vehicle charging stations for you, and they're also looking to increase our footprint for renewable energy for you, our citizens. Our Visit Springfield team, which is in this room, can you raise your hands? I didn't get to see where you were. There they are. Sorry, you're right in front. Our Visit Springfield team, I want to give them a special shout out. These folks sitting at that table are responsible for $500 million in visitor expenditures annually through your town. Thank you for bringing economic development to Springfield. As your new mayor, I was elected to lead our Springfield community with action and my vision. As I said earlier, the things that excite me are what are my vision. It's time for me to be a change maker for this community. That's what I'm striving to be. I've made a lot of changes over the past 9 days, and a lot of you are scratching your head and wondering why. Mostly probably Steve Sperry there in the back. Or Jim Leach, I saw him somewhere here too. They're scratching their heads. But it is my vision and my changes that I'm trying to bring to the community to make a difference. I would like to quote John Quincy Adams. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. I have dreams. I told people when I campaigned I had pie in the sky dreams for Springfield. I'm going to bring those to action. I'm learning as I go, and I've told all my directors they have to be able to yank my tail when they need to, because I need to learn from them. Some of them have already done so in 9 days. It's all good. It's important for me to do more, to become more for you, Springfield, to be your leader. So I'm honored that you've given me this opportunity, and I cannot wait for all of us to do this together. I want to thank you for entrusting me to be your mayor, and I look forward to accomplishing lots of great things with all of you in the next 4 years. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Mayor. I think we're all excited to see all the changes that you have planned and will put forth. Now it's my honor to introduce our next speaker, Andy Van Meter. Andy was elected county board in 1994, and it's my understanding he showed up late to an organizational meeting in February of 2000, and when he got to the meeting, he found out that he was now the chairman of the board. And I don't want to say anything, but he was late today, too, so I don't know if that's a habit. But the good news is, ever since that election, he's been reelected unanimously as the county board chair. In that position, he oversees not only the monthly meetings, but he makes appointments to 30 different committees and boards. He also acts as the chief executive officer for the county. If that's not enough, he also has a day job. Andy is president of Design Ideas, a company that he started in 1982. And he has 50 employees here in Springfield and 25 throughout the world. That's very impressive. Andy's a graduate of Springfield High, Princeton, and Stanford School of Law. However, one thing I learned in doing this research, he's also an Eagle Scout. So please welcome Eagle Scout Andy Van Meter.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you to the Board of Directors and members of the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for the opportunity to have a conversation about larger issues affecting our community and visions of how it might evolve. This is my first opportunity for me, as it is for Springfield's new mayor, and I sincerely appreciate the invitation. While I am a proud card-carrying member of the Chamber, I have not recently attended one of these presentations, which leaves me a little uncertain as to what you expect. So at the risk of this being my first and last invitation to speak, I propose to offer you insights on two issues that show the capacities and limitations of local government, an observation on our community's extraordinary capabilities, and a challenge. Recently, the local news has carried many stories about wind and solar power and the new practice of carbon capture. They are, to my mind, two sides of the same coin, one representing local government competence, the other lack of competence. Zoning has been the responsibility of local governments since the inception of the concept. The thinking has been that local governments know their communities and can best accommodate the views of different parties and can best work out a compromise that is satisfactory to most. While I wouldn't pretend that the county's wind and solar farm regulations are Solomonic in their wisdom, I would contend that after months of lengthy hearings with all parties brought to the table, we were getting close to a set of guidelines that balance the community's disparate interests to the satisfaction of most. As evidence of our progress, I would cite the fact that Sangamon County permitted the largest solar farm in the state, some 4,000 acres in the county's southwest corner, with very little opposition, and the fact that 2 of 3 additional applications received approval just last week. One of these solar farms was approved with no opposition. When you begin to review zoning applications with no opposition, you have a pretty good indication that you're starting to balance the rules appropriately for the community. Unfortunately, our betters in state government decided last fall that local governments were not capable of writing zoning regulations that were appropriate for their local community, and instead imposed a single statewide solution for wind and solar farm zoning that will apply whether you live in Tallulah, Carmi, or Galena. It's impossible for me to believe that the same land use rules are appropriate for all the varied land use patterns in this state. In my opinion, this statewide solution is folly and arrogance of the grandest sort. Our betters left the administration of their diktat to the local yokels so that we might lend a veneer of community participation to a process that is, in fact, entirely dictated by the state. So as the fertile fields of Sangamon County convert from soybeans to solar arrays to achieve a return 5 times what you can earn in farming, I hope you will recall who dictated this change for our community. In contrast to wind and solar farming, the proposal to pipe and deposit carbon dioxide emissions in Sangamon County is an issue for which I have yet to find any area of local government competence. Proponents and opponents of the proposed pipeline agree that exposure to CO2 emissions can asphyxiate a person in something like 60 seconds. The opponents to the proposed pipeline are not obnoxious, NIMBY, not in my backyard types who oppose all change. They concede that we have pipelines running for water, for oil, for natural gas running throughout the county. They have done what homework a common citizen could do, and they want answers about the specific safety risks and the consequent loss in property values associated with the CO2 pipelines. Oddly, the company that proposes to transport carbon dioxide from ethanol plants in Iowa to the unique rock formations beneath our central Illinois soil has done very little to explain to the community the special safety measures they are taking. And they are proposing special safety measures to prevent pipeline ruptures and to prepare the community in the event a pipeline does rupture. Are these special mitigation measures adequate? County government has no real expertise to make that determination. Are the risks consequential? Well, Sangamon County hosts a couple hundred miles of railroad tracks. Some of the chemicals transported regularly by rail in Illinois and labeled dangerous to human health include tetrahydrofuran, ethyl hexyl acrylate, and cyclohexanone. I know nothing about these chemicals. I doubt anyone in the room is familiar with any of them. They certainly sound ghastly. Any of these chemicals may pass through our community without any notice whatsoever. And in fact, all three of them have. We live with some of these risks every day. Appropriately, because we have no real expertise in the matter, state statute gives the county no official role in approving the pipeline. The decision to authorize this pipeline and give company condemnation powers in order to build it rests with the Illinois Commerce Commission. The ICC does have the expertise with which to evaluate risks and the proposed mitigation. Our local citizens, very sensibly, have come to us at the county because they have no other forum in which to raise their voice. We have in turn intervened in the application before the ICC to make certain that our local citizens' concerns are represented. The pipeline company has offered us a payment in lieu of taxes in the amount of $47 million if we will support their project. Our local citizens living nearest the proposed path of the pipeline have urged us to oppose the petition. I cannot tell you how the county board will decide to vote or what to do. I can tell you with confidence that we lack any real expertise in this matter. It's not fashionable to admit you don't know something. Outrage and invective are more admired today. But I hope that the day's not too far off when we will again value humility in our leaders. Let me turn now from something we don't know to something we do know, or rather a lesson that we relearn over and over again. That lesson is that this community is blessed with incredible resources and capabilities, and the key to unlocking them is cooperation. Some examples. Some of you will recall the story of the Long Nine. These were the 9 particularly tall representatives led by Abraham Lincoln and his future law partner, John T. Stewart, that Sangamon County sent to the legislature in Vandalia in 1837 with instructions to try to get the state capital moved to Springfield. Extensive review of the voting patterns of these 9 men, done by the late Senator Paul Simon, demonstrates that our 9 former representatives did not vote as a bloc, but instead voted on opposite sides of many questions, always careful to extract a promise of support from someone for moving the state capital to Springfield. This was incredible teamwork from a very disparate group of men focused on one goal. Another example from a past generation, there are some in this room who may recall the extraordinarily unified effort from most, not all, but most corners of this community to bring Southern Illinois University School of Medicine to Springfield. We simply have no way to measure what that medical school has done to enrich our community. Some in this room will more clearly remember when the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum was first proposed. The wiseacres in town all laughed up their sleeves, but once again, an extraordinary and persistent effort across party lines and jurisdictional lines prevailed to make that transformational institution a reality. More recently, many of us shared that shocking moment of opening the morning paper in the fall of 2009 to learn that the Union Pacific Railroad had planned for us a giant wall down 3rd Street with enormous flying bridges crossing at different locations. We rose with one voice to say that this must not happen, And together, with enormous effort and a little help from a United States Senator, we are in the process of literally picking up a railroad from 3rd Street and moving it to 10th Street. The reverberating advantages of that project have yet to be fully appreciated, but I have already witnessed our new mayor effectively working to leverage that success of the rail project for even greater benefits for this community. In the past few years, the business community, and particularly the Chamber, showed real leadership in pulling together with leaders from labor organizations, local government, and our major educational institutions to form the Springfield Growth Alliance, giving us for the first time a focused and professional effort to develop new business opportunities for our young people to come home to. Its first major project, the Double Black Diamond gas plant near Pawnee, is so close to confirmation we can almost taste it. The success means a $1 billion construction project, the largest in the history of our community, and a remarketing of Sangamon County as a low-cost energy source. And most recently, our hospitals, the medical school, the United Way, the Community Foundation, local government, and leaders of social service agencies have come together to create Heartland Housed, an organization modeled on successful programs across the nation to deal with our intractable homeless problem. I'm pleased to report some real progress. Just one example. 5 years ago, when Mayor Langford and I met with officials from the Department of Housing and Urban Development in Washington, they told us that our performance was so poor that they were considering putting us under the supervision of Decatur. In contrast, just last month, largely because of our efforts to work together, our community ranked in the highest percentile in the nation on HUD's annual evaluation. The practical consequence of that ranking is the first increase in HUD funding for homelessness in this community since the early years of this century. Over and over, we relearn this lesson. To misappropriate Hamlet, the solution to our problems is not in our stars, but in ourselves. We have the resources. We simply have to come down out of our stargazing silos and work together. So here's the challenge. Unemployed young people are a tragedy in preparation. We know the work ethic, the satisfaction of earning a wage for a job well done is the path to success in life. We have businesses in this community who need workers. We have many organizations working on youth employment. There is a county department stocked with federal funds specially designed to help employers take on young workers. We have made some fitful attempts to get these disparate groups together, generally when it was too late to do anything about it for the coming year. Mike Murphy, your president, knows about this. He's been a sensible voice in some of these conversations. We come out of our silos for the conversations, but we never really get together to create an organized, coordinated, focused effort. Could we? The Chamber is uniquely positioned to lead this effort. Would it be willing to do so? So, there's your thanks for inviting me to speak. More work to do. I will understand if next year I'm invited to wash the dishes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I really didn't have anything to do tomorrow, so I appreciate you giving me another task. But as I told you earlier, we will be more than happy to talk with you And I understand your concerns, having been in some of those meetings, and we definitely need a united front to attack that issue, and the Chamber will be part of that. So thank you for that challenge. So now I would like to invite Mayor Busher back up, and the moderator for our question and answer. I call upon a dear friend of mine, former State Representative Tim Butler, and currently the president of the Illinois Railroad Association. Yeah, go ahead and give Tim a hand. I'm going to scoot this back, and so everybody can see the mayor and chairman. How's that sound? And Tim, take it away.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. What a beautiful audience to see, and I think this underscores the great job that the entire team, the small team at the Greater Springfield Chamber of Commerce does. So can we give Mike and his whole team a round of applause? And to have the vision and the idea that we are not just Springfield in this part of the state, that we're the Greater Springfield area, the Greater Springfield Chamber of Commerce, that we're the Sangamon County region, and to invite somebody other than the mayor to come speak today, I think is a tremendous opportunity for us to all realize how important it is that we work together as a region for the betterment of this part of Central Illinois. So first of all, Chairman Van Meter, thank you for being here today. If you have any questions about what those chemicals are on the trains, I'd be happy to set up a meeting for you to discuss that. There's an app available, actually, but you have to be trained to be able to use it. So, Chairman, go ahead, Chairman, if you'd like to respond.
Long list of chemicals.
Long list of chemicals. I mean, we're blessed here in Sangamon County with I think, the greatest county board chairman in the state of Illinois out of the 102 counties. And as you heard from his remarks, a visionary local yokel. So thank you, Andy, for what you do. You're a good friend, and I appreciate everything that you do for us. Mayor, it is a pleasure to congratulate you and have you here today. I am very disappointed you did not sing your address today. Nope. All right, I thought that would go over a little better here, but you know. I think the enthusiasm, Misty, for you to be our mayor is real. I think there's so many people in our community that are excited, like I am, to lead Springfield forward. We thank Jim for his work that he's done. He's been a great leader for our community, and his family has. But really, I'm truly excited, Misty, for what you are going to do for our community. You've hit the ground running already, so we look forward to hopefully 12 years of service. But we'll get through those first 4 years. We won't count our chickens there. So, in true Mike Murphy fashion, we were running a little bit ahead of schedule, so that's good. He told me 10 to 15 minutes. I have now 17 minutes to ask questions. So we have a list of questions here. Some people had submitted questions, some things that have come up. So I'm going to go back and forth between the chairman and the mayor and ask some questions here. So first, Mayor, I'd like to start with you. When it comes to our tourism or recreational economy, we always think of Abraham Lincoln. We think of Route 66, thanks to Scott and his team over there. But we often overlook one of our greatest recreational assets. You touched on it earlier, Lake Springfield. And you unveiled a concept during your campaign to capitalize on Lake Springfield's full potential with the revitalized beach house. Can you expand on not just that, but how we protect our lake's water quality while also finding other economic opportunities that we can expand upon for Lake Springfield?
Sure. The first thing I want to do is give a good shout out to our City Water, Light, and Power team, because our water quality in Springfield is amazing. We just recently received, the City Water, Light, and Power team received an award from, and I'm going to have to read who it was from, because they got the Water Ambassador Award from the Illinois section of the American Water Works Association, which is one of the highest quality awards you can get because of our water quality. We are a place that they look to for guidance for water quality. So that is a big deal. I don't think our citizens realize how great they do at that. So thank you. Good job, Doug. So the water quality is good. As I touched on in my speech, City Water Light and Power is looking at lead line replacement because that does need to be done, and they're working on that currently right now for your water quality as well. As far as the lake itself, I am a proponent of taking care of the lake that we have. I had a meeting with Chief Utility Engineer Doug Brown, and I asked about dredging. We've already started discussing that because it's a concern of mine to take care of our assets. If you ignore your assets, they will deteriorate. I've also talked to him already about the beach house and how we can start that ball rolling to get the beach house to be a fun event space for you, the citizens, to go enjoy. So we have started those discussions. It's only my 9th day, so bear with us. But the Lake Homeowners Association is kicking off in June an event to have food trucks out there, and they want my vision boards out there, and they want you all to come see what it can be. So we're really excited to make that a great place for us to take our families and hang out outside.
Mr. Chairman, do you want to add to that at all?
No.
Do you want to go swimming in Lake Springfield or anything?
Love to.
Mayor, another question for you before I get to Chairman Van Meter. And I say this, I asked this question, I've said before that I think CWLP is one of the crown jewels that we have here in Springfield. But there are a lot of questions that have come up over the years. 5 years ago, the Chamber unveiled a report that underscored the high energy costs for Springfield businesses that they endure, anywhere between 33 and 100% higher than an investor-owned utility in our area. Yet it seems that has not changed in those 5 years. What plans are there to make energy for our businesses more competitive here in Springfield?
So our business rates for our utility have been set in that fashion for over 20 years that I could find. So it's been a long time, Tim. But I do want to say that I talked to Doug Brown about doing a cost service study for all of our utility customers, both residential and business. Our finance department at the utility is short several staff members. There is a posting out there now, and there will be more. So if you would all apply and we can get that fully staffed, we can do the study. So it's really important, though, that we do look at that study. And then once the study is done, one of the things that you'll find about me, and my leadership team heard this from me on day one at 8 a.m., which they complimented me for starting promptly. But I said, I'm not Willy Wonka. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything for you. And it's the same with the citizens. If the results from the study aren't good things you want to hear, we're still going to tell you the truth. That's what my administration's going to do. You're going to hear the truth from the Busher administration so you know what's truly going on. So we will do that study once we get fully staffed, so please apply for the jobs, and then we will address it with you.
Very good. Okay, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate your sense of history. As you explained, our area would not be what we are today without the foresight of Abraham Lincoln and the Long Nine. We wouldn't have the business community that we have here today. We wouldn't have the medical community that we have here today if it wasn't for state government being located here in Springfield, Illinois. From someone who's a longtime resident of Springfield, who's served in state government, I've seen firsthand that sometimes there's often a disconnect between the capital region and our own state government. Or the betters, is that what you call them? The betters, the betters. But I also know those who spend a significant amount of time of their year here in Springfield, whether it's legislators, whether it's advocates or lobbyists, they care about Springfield, they really do. And I was talking to Misty about this earlier. I've heard that firsthand. So what can we do? What is being done by our region's communities to create a closer working relationship with those running state government to ensure we have a vibrant local economy and that Springfield continues to be the center of state government in Illinois?
Well, I'll give you a partial. It's interesting you asked the question here in the chamber's format. I give you a little lesson from history. In the 1830s, when the legislature first moved here, every time the legislature came to town, the city threw a party for them. The chamber would be an ideal organization to do that.
That's two jobs,
That's
Murphy.
two.
Yeah.
We really do need to. Every community that has big government,
I think
every community that has big government institutions like this has these kinds of issues. We tend to take them for granted. We really do need to reach out to them more. As Misty alluded to, I think we're very fortunate. We do have a governor who's really interested in doing things for the capital city. There are real opportunities now, and but I think we, as a community, we would do better to proactively reach out to the legislature when they're here.
Mayor, do you have anything you want to add to that?
I have inserted myself as best I can in a week's time to as many legislative events as I can to meet legislators from across the state. I want them to know my face, I want them to know my name, and I want them to know that my office is open to them always. It's been wonderful, and the main feedback I get, which we talked about earlier, Tim, is why don't you have more hotels downtown that we can stay in, because they're staying all over the community, so that is a focus of mine. And then why don't you have more restaurants and bars downtown for us to visit at? They're doing their business downtown and they want to stay in this area. So that downtown is a big focus for me, because those people are spending a majority of their work life here in our town. And they're very important to us.
Very good. I agree that I think the downtown is the heartbeat of a vibrant community, and I hear the exact same things that you have regarding the lack of opportunities to eat and dine and stay downtown and things like that. So thank you. Mr. Chairman, I want to follow up a little bit. You kind of talked at length a little bit about the homelessness and the panhandling issue and things like that. We see it across the town. It's not just downtown. I've got some familiar faces that I see as I go up to the North End every day. Can we expand on that a little bit about really what we can do to address this situation, other than the chamber taking it up, I guess? I mean, I know we've had some court decisions that have stood in our way, and ordinances that have passed and things like that. But there are other communities in the United States that have handled the homelessness issue and found housing opportunities. You know, how can we move forward so we look back in 10 years and really become a community that has done the right thing when it comes to the homeless population?
Yeah, there are, as I alluded to in my speech, I was part of this group that the hospitals and the Community Foundation and United Way put together, and they spent the better part of a year and a half studying this issue, and I freely confess I was the D student in the class, but just to kind of quantify this, I think this stat is interesting. Every year they do an assessment of a census of the homeless in Sangamon County. The census is done in January, and the most recent census showed that the number of homeless in the community is about 300 people. Now, that to me seems like a small number when I mean, we deal with this so much, but it's a number you kind of get your arms around. I think I'm right in saying this, one of the keys to dealing with homelessness is to keep people from becoming homeless, or the minute they're homeless, immediately get them rehoused. I think it's called rapid rehousing. I think that's the term for it. We don't have a good system in this community to do that because we haven't been working together. The Heartland Housed has now created that system. And to give you an example of the success that they're having, I'm going to say 3 years ago, they were successfully rehousing about 50 people. So about 300 people to deal with. Now that people come in and out of housing, but being unhoused. 300 people, roughly a population of 300 to deal with, and they were handling about 50. Last year, I think I'm right in saying this, they doubled that to 100. So they are making progress in getting people that are unhoused back into housing quickly, so to reduce that problem. Now, I just addressed the homelessness part of your issue. This panhandling is a whole nother ball of wax with all kind of legal repercussions to it. I will say this because we're in a group of business people here. You know, I understand the temptation to want to help these folks, and that temptation, that wish to help them is even stronger when you have no confidence that the community has a supportive system or a way to deal with them. But if you want more of something, subsidize it. And what we want to get to, we want less of homelessness. We want less of panhandling. So the less we feel compelled to subsidize it, the less of it we will have. And what we want to achieve in this community is a system and a confidence in that system that when you see a homeless person, you don't hand them $10. You dial a number and you get them help right away. And that's achievable. Other communities our size have done it. Rockford is the national model for this. And it will take some time. We have a lot to learn, but we can get there.
Mayor?
So Alderman Redpath shared a picture with me that the city of Rockford actually has in their intersections where you see panhandlers. And we, the city, have a sign shop, and I know they think I'm going to make them very busy with my beautification signs, and now I want more signs. But the signs at the intersections in the area actually have a sign that says, panhandling is not safe. Contribute to the solution by giving to a local charity. And then it says, if you need help, call. And it has the phone number for, like, the Heartland Continuum of Care. We need to educate our citizens, just as Andy said, that when you hand the $20 out the window, you're actually adding to the cause, because the panhandlers, unfortunately, are not always homeless people. They're just panhandlers. And they continue to stay there because it works. If you stop giving the money out, we put the signage up and tell them where they can go get help if they are homeless. That would be better. And your funds should go to the homeless charity of your choice that would help them, get them the counseling, and get them the rapid rehousing they need.
So, yes. I know we want to get folks out of here by 1 o'clock, so I got the high sign for one more question, and this is the most important question of the day. Mayor, I'll start. This actually goes to both of you, I guess. With the revitalization of Lanphier High School campus, the momentum behind moving Pillsbury forward, and the transformation of North Grand Avenue with the rail relocation project, what can we do for the missing piece of that puzzle, the renovation of Robin Roberts Stadium? And also, Mayor and Mr. Chairman, would you throw out the first pitch, Mayor, and Mr. Chairman, would you catch the first pitch for the Lucky Horseshoes home opener on May 31st?
So there is already an elected officials reception that night that I've already committed to. You can ask some of the people in this room that are throwing it. I'm not making this up. But I knew about the opening night and possibly this question being asked. And I've spoken to Ethan Posey, my community relations director, and he has small children, and he's very happy to throw out the first pitch. But be careful, he was a D1 football player, y'all, so he'll do much better than I would have.
Only one piece of advice, practice.
I do want to say that I want to touch on not just the Robin Roberts Stadium, but the Pillsbury project down the road. That is a huge piece of that whole corridor and that railroad relocation section. And without us as a community making sure that that property gets cleaned up and torn down, we will not get where we need to be there on North Grand. So I just want to talk about that piece for a quick second. As far as the stadium goes, I'm happy to work with, I think there are some Park District people in the room, because that is owned by Springfield Park District.
Yep.
So the county and myself have already started talking about doing projects together already, not necessarily that one, but other projects, and other government entities being involved with us as well with projects. We want to make a partnership, and we want to work together. And the chairman and I have been in multiple meetings to do just that. So we're happy to talk to the Park District.
Very good. Thank you both. Can we give them a round of applause? And Mr. Chairman, before you go, I do have a Union Pacific pen here if you would like it. So.
Are you sure you're authorized to give me that?
Well, thank you, Tim. Tim, I just want to know, was it more fun asking the questions? Okay, that's what I thought. Well, thank you again, Mayor Busher and Chairman Van Meter. And once again, thank to our presenting sponsor, Commercial Real Estate Network and the Capital Area Realtors, along with our premier sponsors, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Comcast, Springfield Clinic, U.S. Bank, and our partner sponsors, Illinois Railroad Association, Memorial Health, Troxel, and all of our table sponsors. And by the way, they're listed in your book, and I noticed we left one out, and I want to thank Hanson Professional Service, not only for their support today, but for everything they do for the Chamber all year. And before we leave, I want to remind everybody, you will receive a survey about this event like you always do after our Chamber events. I really would appreciate if everyone would take time and tell me what you thought of this new format of the State of the Greater Springfield. And by the way, if you hated the idea, be upset with County Auditor Andy Goldman. He's the one who planted the bug in my ear, but if you loved it, I was going to do it anyway. So once again, thank you for attending today, but really thank you for your tremendous support. It's very humbling to be your president and CEO, and I want you to know how much I appreciate it every day, and I'm there willing to work with you on anything, anytime, any place. So once again, thank you very much.